Hello and welcome back to the Arcane Forge. My name's Josh, and today we are going to be embarking on day 8 of the Drawtober challenge, which is a challenge where I plan to draw every single day for the month of October using randomly generated prompt words, the list of which should be on screen right now. If you would like to join me in this challenge, you're very, very welcome to. Please do. You can use your own randomly generated prompts, or you can use the ones that I've got here, or any other prompt list that you find interesting throughout the internet. There are plenty of them. And some of you very correctly pointed out at the end of last video, I said that today's prompt word, i.e. day 8, was close or close. And I got that wrong. That's tomorrow's prompt. Today's one is protect. And what ended up being one of my very favourite drawings ever. So I hope you'll join me. Of course you're joining me. You're sitting down and watching this video. What am I talking about? Anyway, come have a seat and let's get started. So, today's video, Protect, ended up being one of my absolute favourite drawings ever for loads of different reasons. And I'm going to have to marshal myself because I feel like, because these videos, unlike my Monster Mondays, aren't scripted, they aren't planned or prompted or anything like that, I have a tendency to get very distracted. I have ADHD, and I am currently medicated and caffeinated and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't stop me from sometimes losing my train of thought, even though I have all the necessary precautions taken care of before I start recording. So I apologise if I dart back and forth, but I'm excited. So, the first thing that I really loved about this one, nope, don't start there. So what I was going for here, that's the place to start, was to have a kind of cleric or paladin-like character protecting another member of their party. Very straightforward. Not really sort of interpreting this phrase, this prompt word in any peculiar sort of way, just going with the very basic sense of the phrase. But like I say, I grew up reading lots and lots of comics and stuff, so action poses and movement and flow are things that I like to try and capture in my drawings. So I drew a character with a big shield, which has been pelted with arrows, and she's kind of shooting a ray of, I suppose, as a cleric or paladin, like a ray of holy light, maybe, the wrath of her deity, at another arrow, which is streaking towards its quarry, who is an orc, who I really, really loved drawing. I'm a huge fan of orcs. And I love the idea of them being party members as well. These big lumbering doofs, these great, great characters. And I ended up making what I think is an orc looking quite adorable, actually. Very, very sad looking orc guy here, who is very nervous about the fact that they have been beaten up and pelted with arrows. His little upturned eyebrows and kind of, oh my god, is that it? Is he cute? Because I've given him a little myrtle nose. I like my orcs having quite kind of swine noses, because, again, I said this in my Orc Monster Monday, but, you know, orcs were kind of inspired by kind of, at least in D&D, kind of pigmen, I guess, and kind of, I suppose, to some extent, the kind of green pigman thing. I can't remember if it inspired or was inspired by the kind of Jabba the Hutt's kind of like pig guards, the kind of green-skinned swine-like guards. Either way, I think, you know, usually they look very brutal and aggressive and stuff. But I want to make this kind of hulking behemoth look quite sweet and quite innocent and in need of protection from this like over-the-top level armoured kind of cleric character who is defending him. And I really enjoyed this character as well, the kind of cleric paladin character. I had a lot of fun. As I've said already, I really enjoy drawing kind of chainmail and stuff like that, at least analog. I find it can be quite tedious doing the same thing over and over again in Photoshop, more so than with inks and stuff, non-digitally. But I enjoy doing it here. But I really love this character. And one of the big challenges for me, I kind of say that Drawtober is a chance to experiment and do things that you don't normally do, and try stuff out and fail sometimes and all that kind of stuff, It's your chance to grow as an artist because you're drawing every day. Things don't have to be perfect. You get to draw however much you want with whatever time you have that you can fit in throughout the day, and so on. So it is a growth exercise before it is anything else. It shouldn't be, or at least in my opinion, it shouldn't be something which is designed to, make 31 flawless pieces of art. It's a chance for you to try stuff out, because if you're a professional or, anything really, how often do you get to screw up and try stuff, If someone is relying on you to produce a consistent product, for you to be the kind of, this is the guy that does that, or this is their style, or this is what I recognize from this person, How often do you get to try some stuff out? And that's kind of what a daily challenge is, right? Try some stuff out. So one of the things that I noticed recently, or at least has grown in my awareness since the Black Lives Matter kind of protests and stuff started this year, I've been trying to examine my own biases and my own, I don't know, just the kind of like passive things that I take for granted. I have a lot of privilege as a white cis man living in Britain. And when the system is kind of designed to make life easier for you, it's hard sometimes to have a think about, what are you missing out on? What kind of things do you not notice that are going on, and so on. And I like to consider myself, God, I can't think of the proper word now. Goodness me. Woke is what I'm going for, but not using that phrase. But you know what I mean. I like to consider myself as open-minded, is that right? You know what I'm going for. In touch, I suppose. There's always more to do, and it'd be dumb to not self-reflect at any point in your life. How else would you grow in any capacity? And I look back at a lot of my drawings, and I like to include a lot of dark-skinned characters in my drawings. But I also noticed that I don't draw an awful lot of people of colour too often. If I do, they are often have very Caucasian features, very sort of European features, and so on. And I think that's just purely a product of two things, really. A lot of the media that I consume is very geared towards white characters. A lot of the media I've consumed throughout my life. And also, when, I don't know if this was the same for you, if you do draw or whatever, but one of the things for me is when I kind of learned to draw and when I experiment and stuff like that, when I was learning proportions, I did so largely with pictures of myself, I'm looking in mirrors and, my other classmates. I was lucky enough to go to quite a diverse school, which is really cool. But in my art classes were mostly white guys and stuff. And it's one of those things that I just never really thought about at all. I suppose that's the nature of privilege in any capacity. It's just you don't have to think about it. So, it doesn't cross your mind to examine it at all. But either way, that's a very long-winded way of saying, I kind of woke up to myself and was I don't think I've ever really spent time trying to draw the features of people of colour. So I thought I'd give it a go. And, my drawing style, the way I like to draw is by imagining various shapes of different sizes and stuff to make up all the different body parts. So it's relatively simple enough to kind of change things up and stuff. But there's stuff that you don't really take for, stuff that you take for granted, or the stuff that you don't really consider, I guess. I don't know why I'm saying you. I'm distancing myself from this issue. There's stuff that I don't really consider and so on, or hadn't done in terms of drawing black characters and all this kind of stuff. And I found some, I had I was looking up, online how to draw people of colour, how to draw blah blah blah. And I didn't find much out there, but I did find eventually some little things on Google and stuff like that. I think I found some TikTok posts. If I can remember where I found this stuff, I'll leave a link to it down in either the comment section or the description section. Either way. He was sorry about the weird voice change there. I'm drinking coffee as per usual, so that was kind of me taking a breath after having a bit of coffee. Yeah, some really interesting tutorials and like ideas on black characters' kind of hairstyles and stuff, which are crazy interesting. Like, they're so fun to draw. I really want to, if I can, throughout Drawtober, include a lot more kind of black characters, and, you know, other ethnicities and stuff like that, just because, again, I've noticed that I don't do that too much. So why not? Give it a chance to grow, draw some characters I don't normally think to draw, for no reason that I can imagine, to be honest. So yeah, I really like this character. One of the things that I experimented with here was, you know, do I leave her skin white to make the shading pop more, or do I do a light wash of grey to get her skin tone more visible? But then I've done a lot of kind of line work on her face with these pens that I've talked about in the past, kind of bleeding and stuff. In the end, I do make a kind of wash of her skin tone and then kind of build up on it. And it does bleed a little bit, so I have to kind of go back in and add some kind of white highlights and go back in with my pens after everything's dried to kind of like sharpen certain bits. But I really liked her. I really liked this foray into it. I think I will use this as an opportunity to kind of grow a few more skills with drawing people of colour, especially if it means I get to draw some more really interesting hairstyles and stuff, and represent people who might not normally get represented in my artwork. And to that end as well, I made the kind of cleric's hammer, a kind of Black Lives Matter, or at least that was the intention. I made like a kind of Black Lives Matter hammer, but it ended up looking like the ban hammer, like a punch in the face from this thing. I really like that magic item. I definitely feel like that's going to be in my campaign at some point. If any of my characters use like hammers or whatever, like one-handed maces, I really want to give them a set of stone fists to bludgeon someone with. I think that's a really cool weapon. So I had a lot of fun with that, even if it didn't end up looking like a Black Lives Matter logo or anything like that. It just looks like a set of fists, but that looks like it would do some damage. But yeah, anyway, I witted on loads. This was a really fun one for me. I feel like I learned a lot, and it set me up to do more stuff I'm going to be interested in with this challenge, and a bit more representation and stuff. So yeah, all good stuff in my opinion, and I liked how it turned out, especially with this very cute little sad orc. I say little, he's huge, but yeah, anyway, I've witted on. I should let you get back to your day, and I should get back to mine. So I hope you enjoyed the video as well. I hope you enjoyed this drawing. And if you're joining me in the Drawtober challenge, I hope the challenge is going well for you. Let me know down below what you're doing that you wouldn't normally do. What are you kind of experimenting with in your challenge, in your artwork this month? But yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for what actually is close or close. Bye.